Alright, Carla, today I'm doing two videos for you. Making an Italian meal based on a meal that Joseph and I had at Epcot when we were there last month. So I'm starting off with the focaccia bread. It's a flat Italian bread. It's fairly easy to make. The only time-consuming part of it is waiting for the yeast to rise because it is a yeast bread. But we're going to start with this. I'll show you how to make this, and then the next video I'll show you how to do the ravioli caprese. Alright, to start off making the focaccia bread, first thing you're going to need is 1 3/4 cups of warm water for the yeast. You're going to need 1 package of active dry yeast. This is not the fast rising or quick rising, this is just regular yeast. You need a little bit of sugar. We're going to need 5 cups of all-purpose flour. You're going to need some extra virgin olive oil, some kosher salt, and our Italian seasoning. So first thing we need to do is to get the yeast mixture ready. So I've got the 1 3/4 cups of water, warm water here. We're going to add to this 1 tablespoon of sugar. So the yeast will have something to feed on once they wake up in their warm bath. And open up the package of yeast. Put it in a container and stir that up. Get it nice and mixed up there. There we go. That's going to sit for about 10 minutes while basically the yeast wakes up and starts feeding on the sugar, and it'll start to get foamy and frothy, and that's how you know the yeast is actually active. So that's going to sit for 10 minutes, and we'll come back and we'll start with the flour portion. Okay, 10 minutes have passed, and you can see inside there the yeast mixture's gotten nice and foamy and frothy. That means the yeast is actually doing its job and making bubbles. So that's ready to go now. In the mixer I've got 5 cups of flour, and I've got the dough hook in there. To that 5 cups of flour we're going to add 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, and I'm going to put this on low for a little bit just to get that mixed up. And we're going to add the yeast mixture to it. Stir this up a bit. To that, we're going to add half a cup of extra virgin olive oil. And we're going to let that go in the mixer for about 5 to 6 minutes until it all gets blended in. And forms a nice ball of dough. Alright, that's been going in the mixer for about 6 minutes. So now it's all come together. So now we're going to turn it out onto a floured, I've got my silicone mat out, and we're going to turn this out and we're going to knead it by hand until it makes a nice soft smooth ball. And this is a sticky mess in here at the moment. That's why you want to flour your mat. we go. Add some flour to the top. And we're going to start kneading it. I got a nice smooth ball of dough. This is going to go back into an oiled bowl. Once it's into this ball shape, it's nice and smooth, we're going to put it into a bowl that's been coated with some olive oil. And using my big salad bowl for this, just move the olive oil around because you want both sides of this to get coated really well with the olive oil. Do that. Put it in the bowl, and then toss it around so both the bottom and the top are coated in olive oil. This is going to be covered up with plastic wrap and sit in a warm place to rise till it's about double in size. It's going to take about an hour to 2 hours depending on how warm it is. And since it's a little cool outside today and cool in the house, what I'm going to do to help it rise is I'm just going to sit this bowl in the sink full of some warm water, and that's going to help it rise a little faster than 2 hours. Alright, my dough, as you can see, has now doubled in size, so it's ready to go into the pan. Into the pan we're going to put a 1/4 cup of olive oil. And I'm going to grab my brush and spread that around. Get it all nice and coated there. And then I'm going to put the dough into the pan. Let's see if this will just turn out here. Oh yeah, beautiful. Okay. Now we're going to take our fingers, which are clean by the way, and spread this out until it fits the shape of the pan as much as possible. It's kind of springy and kind of spongy, but spread it out as much as possible. That. All right. And then using fingertips, I'm just going to make some little divots in the dough, not really poking holes all the way through. We're just making divots like this. And then we're going to leave this to rise again for a second time for about another hour, and then it's going to go into the oven. The bread has finished rising a second time in the pan now, so we're going to add to this, I'm going to sprinkle some kosher salt across the top. And we're going to sprinkle it with some Italian herbage. The original recipe called for just rosemary sprinkled on top, but I'm not a huge fan of just plain rosemary because years ago I had a neighbor who tried to kill me with rosemary, and it was a long story there, but haven't been much of a fan of it since, so I'm just using a combination of Italian seasoning here. And just sprinkle that on top. Like that. Then it's going to go into a 425 degree oven for about 20 minutes, and then it's going to come out cool for about 20 minutes, and then it'll be ready to eat. Alright, so that cooked for about 20-25 minutes, and it's out now, and it's really hot. It needs to cool actually for about 15 minutes, but I wanted to see how it looked. Here, as you see, it's flat bread, got a little crusty on top. Nice and crunchy on the bottom. Very tasty. And this is going to go perfect with the Italian meal, the rest of the Italian meal that I'm cooking in the next video, the ravioli. So we're going to let that cool, and I'm going to start on the ravioli, which will be the next video coming up.